Hi, this is Chatboxing. I'm Sean, and this is my post-fight video for the Leo Santa Cruz Frampton rematch from last night. Good fight. Not quite as good as the first one, I don't think, but still very entertaining. First of all, credit to Santa Cruz. He did a lot better than I expected. I didn't think that he would be able to make any changes. I thought he was going to do the same thing he did in the last fight, and pretty much the same thing he does, at least from what I've seen in every fight. But he didn't. I said, and most other people said as well, that what he needed to do was needed to use his range, needed to use his reach. He's significantly taller. I think he's got a 10 centimetre reach advantage, so he needed to use that. That's exactly what he did. In the first fight, he was kind of giving that up and crouching forward and not really maximising it. In this fight, he said he was going to do it. I wasn't sure if he was or not. I didn't think, because I'd never seen him do it before, I wasn't convinced that he would be able to. But he did that, and it was very effective for him. Frampton, to his credit, he did his best to get past that, and he did come up with some quite creative ways to make it a bit more competitive. But really, I think Santa Cruz won the fight. I think it was a close fight. I think I wasn't scoring it as such, but aside from the first 2 rounds, which I thought Santa Cruz won clearly, I think the rest of the rounds could have potentially gone either way. I mean, you could have given them to Santa Cruz, could have given them to Frampton, could have given them a draw. For me, overall, I'd say Santa Cruz did enough to win. Frampton agreed with that as well. You could see that Barry McGuigan and Shane McGuigan, at the end of it, they looked like, yeah, I think the right man won, so there's no complaints with that. If it had been given a draw, I mean, it was close enough, really, that it could have been given a draw, but I think that Santa Cruz was the rightful winner. I think that the first 2 rounds when Santa Cruz came out, I thought, yeah, he looks like he's really doing what he should be doing. Keeping it long, using that range and reach advantage. And Frampton couldn't really close the distance well enough. I mean, he did at times, but he had to basically charge in head first, which obviously isn't an effective tactic. I think from maybe I think it was the 3rd round. I think, yeah, it must have been the 3rd round. He started to close it a bit better, and he did adapt quite well, Frampton. He was coming up with a few more creative ways to come in. He was mixing it up, like coming in with the lead hook, like ducking under, coming in from different angles, moving his feet a bit more, lots of head movement, and he did a good job at trying to negate it. I just think that Leo Santa Cruz did a very good job of keeping it long. As the fight progressed, Frampton was closing the distance better. He had figured it out, so to speak, but it wasn't really enough, because Santa Cruz, even though Frampton was finding it easier to get in, he was still winning the fight from long range. And then when Frampton did make it in, he had a good tight defence, tucked up well, and they were basically trading. And on the inside, it kind of depended. Both of them were landing some pretty good punches, but I think the fact that Santa Cruz was landing better punches from range gave him the edge in the fight. They're going to make they say they're going to do a trilogy now. When I was watching this, I was thinking, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd like to see the 3rd fight, especially in Belfast, but the problem with trilogies, I kind of like to see, different people. I'd rather see Frampton fight against some other people, I'd rather see Santa Cruz fight against some other people, but they've had 2 very close fights. In my opinion, both decisions were correct. So yeah, it makes sense, I suppose, that they do a rematch in Belfast. Now, yeah, if the fight does get made, and it does get made in Belfast, obviously I'll make a prediction nearer the time. Initial thoughts on that. Firstly, I would say that I don't really see. I said in this one, I don't really see what Santa Cruz can do differently. Well, now I'm saying I don't really see what Frampton can do differently. I'm not saying he can't, but there's nothing obvious, at least now, that springs to mind. I mean, he did. From what I can see, really much what he could have done. He tried to negate the advantages, the physical advantage that Santa Cruz had, but he just wasn't able to, due to the skill of Santa Cruz. So, could he do anything different? I don't know about different, I mean, better, possibly, yeah. I mean, he could have more success, so that's something. One thing I would say as well, though, that the energy level of the crowd in Belfast, and the fact that Santa Cruz, as far as I know, he's never fought out of America or Mexico. I don't know that for a fact, but that's what I think. He definitely hasn't fought in Ireland or the UK. So that kind of crowd and that environment might possibly take him out of his game and force him to fight a slightly less disciplined, slightly less intelligent fight. He might get caught up in all the emotion, all the energy of the crowd. That could play a part, but I think he showed kind of the blueprint on how he can fight well against Carl Frampton tonight, last night. And I think if they fight again, it will definitely be very competitive. And yeah, I'm not sure when that will get signed up. Carl Frampton, credit to him, he gave total, didn't make any excuses, just said, yeah, I credit to Leo Santa Cruz. Hopefully we'll make the rematch, or the second rematch. He also gave a bit of a tribute to Alejandro Gonzalez, because he had the thing on his shorts. Said he wanted to, dedicate the victory to him. Unfortunately, wasn't able to do that. But yeah, I think he's still, credit to both of them. Good fight, and yeah, be interested to see what happens next. If they make the fight straight away, or if, because obviously they were talking about fighting Lee Selby, Carl Frampton. He didn't fight last night, so I don't know what will happen with that. And Leo Santa Cruz, will he want to come to Belfast in the next fight? I think he will. I think he seems to me like an honourable man, like both of them do. I think that's why they respect each other so much. And I think that Carl Frampton gave him the rematch, so I think he'll do the same thing. Whether they'll do it next, I don't know. But yeah, that's it. So yeah, Carl Frampton, good performance. Did very well, but not quite enough in the end. Leo Santa Cruz, deserved winner. So yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you very much for watching.